the part 2 is, I think this is a little bit tricky, and this is something that requires a little bit of thinking. Okay, so the Eastern Elementary has given how many? 512 hosts with the address range of this. So if you previously, right, if you go back to the previous example, the Eastern Elementary, right? So Eastern Elementary is right there. Eastern Elementary, right? Eastern Elementary. And then the address range for the Eastern Elementary, right, is this, right? This is given. So good news is that this is the answer, right? This address range is the answer for Eastern Elementary School. If you look at the previous, right, Eastern Elementary School, right, Eastern Elementary, right, and if you look at the this part 2, the answer is given. Okay. Okay. So now, having said that, okay, so let me just draw the diagram for this. Okay, what happened is this: you have basically this is part 1, right? In the part 1, you have what? You have North High, right? You have North High, and then South High, and then etc. So you have many customers, right? And somewhere, right, almost toward the end, there is a called Eastern Elementary, right? And then if you look at the IP address space of the Eastern Elementary, right, the IP address range is 172.32.42.0 all the way to 172.32.43.255/23. Okay? So if you look at the address class B, right? If you look at the class B, 23, right? 23, let's see, 42. Oh, this is like, okay, I don't know if you can see this, but 42 to, let's say 42, what? 42.43, okay. I hope you can see this, but 42, okay, so it's just right there. Right there, 42 to 43, right? Just this one. Okay. Basically, that's the Eastern Elementary. Okay. And then is that /23. So how many? 5. If you look at the /23, right, it can have up to 512 hosts, right? With the /23, 520 of this one. This network is what? You can have basically 512 hosts, right? With this /23. And now the part 2, right, is we are going to divide, right? We are going to divide this network into many different pieces, right? We are going, so that's a part 2, right? We are going to divide this yellow network into what? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different network. And this is the requirement, right? The first one is a student network, right? It requires 250 and etc. Okay? So by looking at this number, 250, 45, 40, and 25, 12, we know that we have to use a class C chart, right? And that's why they said, okay, given 512 hosts, right? Given 512 hosts with this, right? And we know that I showed that this is this yellow network, right? With given this, use a class C address chart to break down the sub network, right? So this is sub network, right? So we are going to divide this yellow network, right? Okay. And then the first one is what is the requirement? The requirement is, okay, the requirement is what? 250. Okay, so the requirement is the first requirement is 250, right? And then I know that address space is given, right? For the Eastern Elementary, the starting point is what? 172.32.42.0 all the way to 172.32.43.255. So this is a range of Eastern Elementary School, right? I'll just call it EE, right? EE network, right? And then we need to divide this network into how many pieces? 45, 40, 25, 12, right? We are going to divide this network into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different network with the different size, right? The first of them is 250 and 45, 40, and 25. And that's why this is called what? VLSM, right? The variable length. Okay, anyway, so 250, right? So then we have to use a class C, right? So let's say 250. So that means, can we use /25? No, because it only can hold up to 128. Then yes, we can use what? /what? We can use a /24 because it can hold up to 256 hosts, right? So obviously 250 is less than 256. So therefore we can use /24, right? So the first one is 172.32.42.0, right? And all the way, right? And we know that we have to use a /24. That's for sure. Okay? And then any volunteer? You know what? I give you 1 minute. I want you to, by the way, this is your homework assignment, and problem like this is going to be on your final, in your exam, right? So I'll give you 1 minute. I'm going to pause, and then I'll give you 1 minute to think about this. Okay, so what is it? Okay, so we'll meet, okay, so I'll give you 1 minute. So anyway, I'll just give you, okay, it's good. So yes, you're right. The answer is what? So, what is your name, by the way?
Abdullah.
Abdullah, thank you. Thanks for the right answer. Okay, so the answer is 172 dot, oops. Okay, so first of all, 250, right? So we know that we have to use a /24, right? We have to use a /24. That means basically we have to use this whole thing, right? So it's 255, right? So and then this is a class C. So we have to really work on the last 4th octet, last one, right? So that means 172 dot what? 32 dot 42 dot what? 255, right? Okay, and then next one is obviously, right? And the next one is obviously what? It requires a 45, right? It requires a 45. And then next one is this is starting all the way to this ending, right? And by the way, with the 45, we need what? /what? We need
/26.
26. So we need /26. Okay, so I'll give you couple of minutes, and then I want you to think about this problem, right? So I give you about like 2 or 3 minutes. So what is the next one? We know that we have to use a /26 after this, right? So think about it. Okay, so yes, there's one. Yes, that's the right answer. The answer is, that's good, thank you. Let's see. Okay, so the answer is, you're right. Answer is okay. First of all, I know that this is easy, right? The network address, right? Because when you add 1 to this, you will have 172.32.43.0, right? And then what? You have to apply /26, right? So if you apply 26, that means this one, right? Okay, so remember, when you use this red address space, right? And as you can see, you are really starting from the new network, right? New the class C network, right? And that's why, and then this is the address space, right? Because /26. So you have to say 172.32.43, right? The 43 dot what? 63, right? Okay, so that's the right answer. And so okay, so if you look at the okay, so hint, right? Another way to look at this problem is to see that with the third octet range, 42 and 43, you have access to 2 group of 250 addresses. Think in terms of having 2 class C VLSM chart. Okay, so that means, okay, so this is like, I mean, this is like you have to use a little bit of intuition. Okay, so first let's take a look at what is given. Okay, so what is given is 32, right? And then this is IP range, right, for the E elementary school, right? And then we know that this is what? This is slash, I think, I'll look at the previous slide, is E elementary, right? So it's /23, basically. Okay, so this is given to us. And so read the 23, right? Read the 23. Read the 23 means what? 512 hosts, right? So read the 23, we know that the IP address given this elementary school is what? 512 hosts, basically. Okay, so that means, think about it. This is like a 42, right? The 40. So basically, the IP address, the starting point is 172.32.42.0, right? So that's a starting point. And the ending point is this one, right? Ending point is this guy, 172.32.43.255, right? And then we know that with the /23, we can have what? 512 hosts, right? So that's a given. So this is what the E elementary school can use this address space. Now, first they use 250 hosts, meaning that /24, right? The /24 256 hosts is what used already. So the half of them, right? The half of them is already used. And then starting from 45, you have to, basically that's the starting point of 45 network, right? So this is like a 256 is already used, right? For the 250 host. Okay, so if you look at, so that means what they are saying is this. Another way to look at this problem is to see that with the third octet range, 42, 43, you have access to two group of 255, two group of basically class C addresses, okay, which is this and 43. So basically what they're saying is that you can think this as having a two class C addresses. The first one is this one, right? So this is a class C, and then so it's responsible for this much, right? And then another network, right? Another class C network is what? 172.32.now 43.0, which is this one. So they are saying that we have a 42 and then we have a 43, right? So it has two class C addresses. And that's why we are done with this, right? So with the 250, we are done with this, right? So that means you are done with this. And now with the 43, right? We are starting with a new class C address. And then with the 45 requirements, right? We are basically using this, right? So basically what? All up to what? 43.63. So it's probably it's up to here, right? I'm going to use a different color. So this is what? This is the this 45 network. Yeah, right. This is for the 45. Okay. So yes. So that's the answer. So any question? Okay. So that's the. So I think let's see. Yep. And then I think you can finish rest of them. You can finish rest of them. Rest of them is basically applying this chart, right? It's very straightforward. Okay, so we'll take a break here, and then next part is part 3 of problem 36. Thank you.